Yo, 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 what's going on? Little Globex trading up small green. Sitting on my back porch, so hopefully audio is okay. Got cars going by, got a helicopter flying over there. Well, we're up about 1,800 on this eval. It's combine. Today was back and forth day for me. I show you, it was just all over the place. Red to slight green, and called it a night. 10 o'clock. So many hours. And this morning, I was wrapping up at the gym. Got a short made. I should have knew it was going to be an inside day. Perfect day for sports. We all are into sports. And we're slow range up the picks, heading into a 3-day weekend. Just, catalysts, few economic releases. Important. Spreads should have been. Well, I kept trading. I got greedy. I wanted to pass this thing in 2 days. See, start to see some red. This point is now $1,000. Kind of regrouped right out of lunch. Man, just squeaked out a profit. Almost gave it back. And end of the day with about $100. So roller coaster emotions all over the place. But I'm trading this a lot more risky because again, it is a combine. I mean, usually the rules for when I have an XFA is I call it around $300 to $500. If I go red like this, if I'm ever to get green again, especially if it's $200, that counts as a day. Okay, just call it a day, be done. Like this would be worst case scenario in an XFA. Like all this work, 63 trades, I think is what it came back to, all said and done, and then 119 days, $119 on a day. I mean, that doesn't qualify with Top Step. That's worst case scenario. It's terrible. I mean, it's green. Green is green. You got to take the positives, but also recognize that this is all over the place. And if you look at the price action for today, just not ideal. High of the range, 480 to the low, 300. So call it 200. We were seeing 200 candles just a few weeks ago. So market's just waiting for catalysts coming. There's a couple things going around. You got this tax deal that they're voting on. They're trying to push through. Trump's really trying to push through. So I think that could maybe provide some catalysts. Always tariffs. You got to be watching for that kind of news. Could be a catalyst. And then Russia. I've seen some headlines lately that could be coming to an end. He says within the next 2 or 3 weeks, so keep that on your radar. But really, look at the economic calendar for today. On Mountain Time, so you can see we really didn't have anything of importance tomorrow. And you got a 20-year. At least we got that going for us. But who knows if that's even going to give us anything. It's really Thursday. We said at the beginning of this week, Thursday is going to be the big day. Jobless claims, a couple of PMI readings, some housing data, this 10-year tips auction, Fed speak. On the earnings front, we had Pan W after the well. Before, a couple that I was watching. Or tomorrow, Snowflake, Zoom. I know there's a lot of people swinging Snowflake months ago, plus that it didn't work well. So I mean, they've had CEOs in and out. I know personally for the company I work for, we use them. I think it's a great company. So I'm curious to see what they end up recording. And then Zoom. I think everyone on the dog knows what Zoom is. Good company to pay attention to. And Intuit, Workday. I mean, we've got earnings this week, but just nothing super major. Cows. Looks like we're rejecting that 9. Maybe go test these levels again here. I'm trying to keep it really small. See if I can change the privacy on this. Yeah. So, well, $1,150 to go. And we can hit that. So I'm not trying to force anything. Kind of just hang out, see the sound outside, enjoy the good weather here in the Rocky Mountains, and see if we can chip away at the rest of this combine tonight. I actually thought those were micros. That's lack of focus by me. I only have two micros. So let's go ahead and add that. No sweat. Give back some profit. Let's see if we can maybe scalp. Scalp one more. That's an impulse candle. That's why you never short the lows. But we're back in here testing these EMAs. Probably go up and maybe test VWAP in the 400 psych. If we get over that, that's really where we should stop. So let's see if we can get a little bit of a pull there. I'm over here listening to spaces. Listening to spaces in the background. So I'm also working on some mic counts. Let's see up over here. Be the first trade of the night on the tradified counts. Like rejection this area would work. And see if play out a little bit here. Try and start scaling around 10 points. See if we can get something going.
fly in. So that means that you're right. If you can you can basically rip the faces off of institutional short sellers that have been doing this for a very long time because it's been very hard to try to catch up here, and that does happen. The price point can be very aggressive, but there are other metals that also contend with it. So I think it is a demonstrated area of not so much more expensive. So contemplate ratio of price basis and that determination.
So one of the things I do, I mean, I take these time during Globex. There's still markets. They're not moving any of the time. Maybe we'll see if we get this. Take profit. Take profit. I like to take this time to listen to spaces, listen to podcasts, maybe audiobooks, um, and also do some research for the up and coming week. And so you can see, I mean, we talked about how this week there's not a lot of catalysts. We've got a long 3-day weekend. We got Memorial Day coming up on Monday, and so I'm just kind of taking notes mentally and putting those, those thoughts in the back of my head that, hey, these are all the things we have going on. We do have some more catalysts coming up next week, like for PCE, GDP. They revise these GDP numbers like 3, 4, 5, 6 times. It feels like but the big catalyst for next week, I mean, we have month end coming up. Now the OPEX is behind us, 30th day of the month. We've got PCE, Fed's preferred inflation gauge. Also, watch out for these Michigan numbers. I mean, I've seen some insane candles on the Michigan data releases. We talked 200-point candles a while ago. That was one of the times. I mean, Michigan data, a little bit of a surprise, and you already know that the big money's using it as an opportunity to really create some liquidity. And so it's one that I always watch out for. Michigan. Sounded like we got, target filled on our big there. Still working kind of this mini. Got my risk settings to TP at 1,000 and then risk 150. I usually adjust those. I'll hit the break even quite often. Something I really like about this Top Step platform. So many cool features, and it makes trading so easy. I thought I heard, we did take profit on one of these. I had 3 MNQ short on these stratifies. I'm going to take one off at 65. That'll probably be a logical spot. And then the low right now is sitting at 42 for this session. So maybe breaking that in C20 is best case scenario. I mean, best case scenario, you go and test these Friday lows. Oh. Sun's starting to go down out here. Traffic's starting to go down as well, so hopefully the audio is a little bit better. I tested it on my phone. It was pretty bad a minute ago. But, yeah, just hanging out, trading some Globex, and listening to some spaces, trying to pass a couple of combines and evals.
Yeah. I know that it's not it's in the net. SBSW. That's the minor. I like that base. I like the base there, man. Are you trading options on it, or are you going long the other? I have not taken a position in any of this yet. I don't have a future in SBSW because I expect this to be 2 hours. So tomorrow, I need an option in SB. Yeah, so seriously, I will go after all mean, it's a $5 stock. I'll probably just either buy the stock. I don't need to unnecessarily dabble into calls. But if I go with calls, I'm going to go something high delta, 70 delta in the money, January 2027 calls, like a 5 strike call options thing. Because one beautiful thing that you have when you're trading calls instead of stock is that, you keep rolling position out and actually the delta goes up as the stock goes higher. But with stock, you can't really scale out without just simply, eliminating some deltas, which requires simply selling partial position each time it goes up, right? So,
yeah, dude, those fives are going for $1. Oh, sorry, 2026, which is also looking very decent. It's going for $1.36, $30.35 for fives. And if you go out to 2027, it's $5 for $2. So I mean,
take a look at the rally in platinum futures volume behind it. So slash and here's right?
be careful.
It's a high in platinum yesterday. It was a massive breakout. The year-to-date high in platinum futures yesterday. Today it's a little bit of a bearish hammer in there, on to almost all the gain from yesterday. And I think now you zoom out from it, right? And take a look at the 1 year, the 3 year, the 5 year, and you see massive base formation in platinum futures. I mean, so we're at 1057 right now in the futures and platinum. If we go above 1100, I think it's going to start catching. That's my thing. We'll see.
Interesting. That's great. I love that call. It's out of nowhere. I love it.
Yeah.
China is chirping tonight, boys.
China,
U.S. nutrition was intimidated and vowed to respond firmly. I told you, dude. I just told you that like an hour ago. This tweet in the last 4 hours. Yeah. Listen, perfect. Like, say, they're by the way, there's going to be backlash there. They're not going to sit still. It's not their nature. It's not their nature. They didn't cut their rates that aggressively if they're not going to force fight. They thought everything was off. People kept
change the topic. It's first quarter sales rate, and it posted that its unit sales in the first quarter were down 20% year over year. Market completely shrugged it off. Did not care because the only thing that matters is the taxing. And it's correct. Right? The real balance is like 5 year revision. So the medium term best the biggest one on the Wall Street is Adam Jonas of Morgan Stanley, who likes to musically these articles that he's written sometime every 2 or 3 days. In the number which he wrote today, he talked about some three EV this week. I mean, in one, he's launching a second EV. BYD hit 40 miles an hour last. In just 1 week, it has done so much. It attracted and it received 120,000 in a whole month in general. Just 15 to 70,000 cars. That's what when the adopted the EV launch, 36 hours it got 120. It's at the end in the second half. China made it already. Wall Street. Yeah, I'm going to share this in the spaces as well. Here's my question. Let's talk about
traction, right? Or if it's failures, or it is unable to launch scale and people start to question, it has no business to return to. Because the EV business is down, double-digit percentage will likely continue at this rate with market share losses with many geographies. So I sit here and wonder how significant robotaxi is actually now, not just the next several years. It better work. It doesn't work, there's no way to come out. There's no business. It basically becomes, in my opinion, an experiment. The foundation here becomes so fragile that environment that if this thing fizzles, I think it would really hurt. That is, I think it carry that is sufficient enough that it's like a 5-year-old, dream. Even though where we're going to be at that particular point, but yes, that is one of the promising things. So look, that's why I think that it's just the next couple of months, with starting from late June, when they're going to have, I don't know how many of these things running around. And the school from Texas, it needs to media attention. It needs to go full on their section. And it needs to entice them. Otherwise, it becomes a big trip. So the third quarter will be from July, right? Before the next earnings report. I think that becomes the main trade, which is the short Tesla. Yeah, close it monthly. It's a company. It's good. It's got a company. Right now, main trade definition is one that is playing out a bonus position for us. Yeah. Just one more eyebrow. Being Tesla is not long and short. Yeah, there's one more eyebrow. It's the size of public business. Everybody's in the Texas guy, so what the hell they want to short it? Right? Yeah. Sorry. One more question to Tesla, and that is that he's going to roll his AI division into Tesla. So it's AI? It's AI? Oh, really? Yeah, dude. Yeah. Seriously, that is right now. I mean, like, you can project these trades on the scene. A 52-week high. Not being qualifiers and people now pressing for $20 plus strikes. Maybe it's not just 20. Maybe we see it go to $25 to $30 per share by the end of the year. Because you know why? In the same, if you go back to when the first quarter, Tesla was leading the big time, but space is growing at a very, very great, which is why it's kind of sad, to be honest with you, for Tesla to walk away from a business that basically pioneered and was doing so well. So they decided we don't want to be in this anymore. Essentially, we don't want to make cars, right? We just want to go into the full robotaxi mode, and now it's a big experiment that better pay off. But I think what's really happening is that there's a set of investors that wants exposure to this place, and I think that they're finding comfort in Rivian. That's one part of it. We're seeing that stock elevate higher, continue to break out. I think this momentum can carry for far longer than people want to believe. Talk about the pain trade. This is coming out from a multi-year base information, right? And second thing is that if you look at the last earnings call from Rivian, they pointed this out that there's a major factory shakeup that is taking place which potentially is setting them up for R2 launch in early 2026. And that's going to be the first major launch since R1 came out, which was several years ago. Talk about where there are no new models scheduled to come out from Tesla at all, whether it be in a sedan or really anything. And the next major EV launch by an American company will be Rivian by late 2025, early 2026. Even Ford Motors put out this article a couple of days ago that they're actually they've overtaken the Cybertruck sales from Tesla in terms of unit sales. So the registration-wise, when you look at the registration in California and other stuff, so the Lightning, the F-150 truck. The bottom line is this: there is no car business, auto business to return to in Tesla. That's why I keep emphasizing that this robotaxi becomes a single most important driver of performance, and it better pay off for the next $800 billion startup with nothing to sell and a declining business.
Couple notes: Volkswagen agreement was at $17.50 a share. I think a lot of people are targeting that near term for just a price target based on that. The other thing, Rivian is projecting to be gross profitable by early 2026 as well, which I think is another huge step to add into that. And then I agree with you, Jaguar. I think China's actually winning the EV game, and everything with Tesla is going to hinge on autonomous driving. I think this trade deal is going to definitely open up some markets, right? What if we open up our markets to Chinese autos? Our auto markets selling EVs at 40%, 50% of what we're getting here in the United States at a higher quality. Yeah, that would be a problem. I just find that funny. It was a joke. Everything else that you can sell for autos. Nothing. Go ahead. I have a feeling about that. Going back to the markets, this is where the discussion started off. In what bear markets in which we are staring down the barrel of a recession, do we see industrials break out to a new 52? I'm talking about SMI. In what bear market? Can anybody name one bear market or a recession in which smokestacks were literally breaking out to a new 52? I cannot name one. That's Chad, I love you so much. I love you so much, Chad. I brought that up earlier. Utilities are only like 6% away. I think utilities are probably 1% away from being big ones. We nearly see utilities being great much on this. Yeah, but I would say that if actually, if the 10-year bond is for sure. Because the stable utility can compete with the risk-free rate of the state 5%. We have seen this in the past too. For example, if you go back to August of 2023, when Fitch downgraded the U.S. debt, the two worst performing sectors at the time, because at that time the bond yields ran higher sharply, right? I think that the 50 basis points between August and October of 2023, in that time frame, the two worst performing sectors after that Fitch downgrade, both were down nearly 20% almost. I mean, the 10-year did one big move, but then it kind of just fizzled away, got a pause, but it may not be done if it's going to go up. I mean, the utilities may be looking good today, but I think there's one area that get hurt the most. No, that's why I'm bringing up Jag, right? I'm bringing that fact up as saying utilities are about to make new all-time highs in the rate environment that we're in right now. Usually, you don't see that underneath the market. That's what I'm highlighting. I'm not saying I'm like, bullish utilities. I'm just saying that it's normal, as we talked about industrials in the center this year, right? That's not usually what happens out of the market. And bull markets or coming out of bear markets, I'll go with this last thing too. I think I'm Jet. Usually these V-shaped recoveries, and where I won't push back on you all the time, I think we'll get there. I mean, at this trajectory, we should get new all-time highs by the end of next week. That's not even the leader of flipping on.
I mean, I would tend to agree. You guys probably saw me looking at that. If you go to the daily, there's high. It shows it a little bit better. You pull out this here info line and you say, hey, give me the high, this high. We're less than 3% from highs. Market can do that in a day off good news. We could be all-time high easy. We had a 21 pullback. I mean, that's pretty good. That becomes, bounced right off of that bear market zone. I usually keep this on my chart just for perspective. So many traders started during COVID, so you can see COVID we had kind of a 30% pullback in rip. We just had a 20% pullback in rip, and it gives perspective. Hey man, just zoom out. Everything felt like everything was around about the world. Not even a month ago, and then just V-shaped recovery right back up to where we were. Q's kind of same story. A little over 3%. Keep in mind it's more volatile. Higher beta names. So the other thing I look at is equal weighted. If you look at RSP, this is just the S&P 500, but instead of weighting by market cap, it's all equal weighted. So it kind of right sizes some of those big tech names from about 5% from highs. And this has been lagging through all of through the Biden rally and all that. This would lag, by a few weeks to months. Still doing that. Getting a little bounce here. Still markets that could be the bottom until we open. So you got to be careful. Got to manage positions and close out if you start to see a reaction you don't love. A break and hold over this 21 EMA would definitely be a signal for me. You can see we've just been trending down, rejecting 9. Tried 21, missed. Trying the 21 again, so this could be the chance for the reversal. We just got to kind of wait and see. Manage risk accordingly.
This is the connection I was trying to make the last time. Remember, Frank, you were here in the spaces that you had last time, and I was trying to make the case that, look, there's a lot of concern about stagflationary pressures that will result from these higher tariffs. But I kept pointing out that my favorite toolbox to go to is the nowcast from the Cleveland Fed, which is never wrong. It's always within a basis points of actual data that is reported. And it was pointing out to a decelerating trend in the year-over-year headline CPI. That's exactly what we got. Now, if you look at the month of May, it's not much different. We're still about projecting about 2.4% year-over-year CPI. I mean, these nowhere in the incoming inflation expectations, aside from consumer confidence data, which is heavily skewed by voter difference between Democrats and Republicans, there's the inflation data point from different sources. That's massive spike in inflation that is just waiting to happen from all of these tariffs.
And penalize Fed heads prices
then that market deterioration or erosion of profitability beneath losses, right? So flexible businesses cancel all of it. 100% of the investment because the vast majority of it don't resume. People feel that we will never and try to get the right shot at return. This is the test that you get the right shot. You know, you say feature where the price is going to be simply goes up from $100 input cost to $130. And this is an extreme case with one country, and there are exceptions with that too. But let's suppose that's the case. It's a one-time shot. Now you set the tables at 130, and that's it. It's not repeated in nature. There's no significant commodity basket. From Atlanta Fed, and number three, number three. Right now, it's not going to tell you that GDP numbers we're completely shocked. Maybe fourth quarter again, completely shocked because you have this stopping and starting. Stopping in Q1, early Q2, restarting again. That's what happens. There's another influx. A lot of that is just, it's not reliable data, in my opinion. But you have to just wait. And here's the reason why I kind of call this out.
10 to 2%. But I go back to the mechanics of how things work. The energy side of it, I get what you're saying, and people bring up oil all the time. And oil, gasoline, and diesel are they only the three different products. Oil has dropped significantly from $65, which makes me just believe that you can slowing until you get above $65. I'm still just on a historic basis. It's collapsed. Because our job is a future contract, we get the profit. Gas prices have not moved. Here's the other problem that you have. Say that everything is right. The driving season. Basis very expensive. Expansion to 2.5% growth that you're talking about. We also make transportation free. And if that type of activity is going to close, it's going to draw it. It's higher. We find it's not going to I would say, gasoline futures, it's like 15 cents per day highs. That's actually what so just perceive these prices. And diesel, you anytime it flows on diesel prices age very great leading indicator. Month over month, look at month over month changes for heating oil, diesel, look at month over month changes for headline inflation or CPI. The next week, probably might go most so we're already on those. So you're looking at what we're seeing now at these current levels. You're already 7%, 8% higher when it comes to those futures pricing.
Get a little more sales right here. I mean, this is where it would bounce for bulls, lock in a higher low. Hang around for probably another 10 more minutes or so. Probably go head off to bed. Don't want to overdo it. Globex. One of the biggest mistakes I've made is staying up for weight in Globex, trading, 20, 30 range, only to get terrible sleep, wake up, the market's open at 7:30, and you just get beautiful price action. Globex is for scalping, so no reason to push it. Just want to let this one play out. The goal again is just to have a little bit of profit going in tomorrow. Start the day a little bit green. Working my way to passing this combine. Started these. I started these. It's like Friday last week, so this is technically day 4. Monday was great. Textbook, exactly what we wanted. Going for that Friday, just couldn't get it. So just a small way. Today, already kind of reviewed it. Roller coaster. And gotta take my best. A couple swings at it. Tomorrow morning, Friday, off Monday, and we kind of got a chance to build in some profit. A little buffer on an XFA next week to work with in June. Kind of wrap up Q3 with 5 XFAs. Copper trading 5 combines. And over here, here we got, where's the selling job? Here in our trade of bait. Almost got this guy back to opening balance. Day one on this trade of fi account. Working 5 of them. Currently, got a couple old failed ones. Day one, I think it was negative 1,000. So I've taken Friday, Monday, today, slowly just crawl out of that. Kind of reset and follow the same sequence. Follow the same sequence the rest of the week through next week. Get these bad boys passed. It's getting late. You don't want to be greedy in Globex. Take one more off there. Come over here to Top Step. And that's a win for me. This next day, typically where, especially in Globex, I've locked in that qualifying day of $100. I would hit break even, and I'm going to bed. Night. Good scenario, I wake up, and I don't have to do anything. Best case scenario, TP down here, and I'm looking at $380. Yes, and I'm definitely going to take a trade tomorrow. I'm at least taking some, trading with some profits if it's A plus price action. Globex, man, too many people overlooking Globex. Overlooking Globex.
So whatever dollars in the United States for some long amount of time. It's not going to offset just the size of curve that we see. Now, you're talking about the fiscal spend. Some of this budget will be fiscally stimulative, but we also have to understand that there are also going to be some very significant cuts in certain areas and things will impact low-income individuals. So what I'm trying to kind of say is we're not in the clear yet. If we're in this hole, look at the data now, everything's good. That's where I see risk in this market. And there's no way in hell, in my opinion, unless the marketplace makes it very bigger companies, 10% here, tariffs, and your earnings multiples re-rate higher because of the E. The market is pricing out, the E is going to be declining. I will see how that data plays out. But I do believe that there will be inflationary pressures. It's going to labor, this is the last thing. Labor is unique. It's a wild card because we do have an immigration policy that's a lot stricter right now. And it's but we've had something that has been dropped up as far as the labor market statistics for a very long time, but have not really accelerated for outsized the last 6 years or so. The timing of this new immigration policy is going to reduce the supply of labor for, let's say, certain jobs, right? And timing of that labor supply will actually have an impact on the unemployment rate to the downside. So the numbers actually still might look pretty good, even though we might have actually job deterioration because your total denominator is actually being flushed out. So that's the wild card that I don't have an answer for. Maybe we do see 4% or 4%, 4.3%, 5%, is still manageable on the jobs front. But you still have some fraction in some other areas. So that's, and I look at how I see it, right? I'm not saying, here's my caveat we're giving out. There are certain things right now in labor where I don't know how this new regime is going to do. Or this new policy is really going to affect those numbers, similar to Joel's data during COVID.
Price still just rejecting those EMAs. Failure to make new highs. Lost VWAP. Come back, retest. These EMAs right in the cloud. And just kind of riding it down. 400 psych, you had EMAs, you had VWAP just above. Right there, I mean that was best for those. Talked about maybe locking in a higher low right there. So far looking like continuation to the downside. At this point, we've got most of the Asian markets open, not all. I think as of a few hours. London, you got 2 or 3 hours away. It's rare that I stay up. Nice pre-market. What is it? 4.5 hours from now. An extra. You want to burn yourself out, man. It's just Globex. And the goal is just to get a little bit of profit. Lock in a qualifying day if it's an excellent FFA. Runners run. This is a win right here. We've been streaming for about an hour. This is X-minute XFA. I mean, $200, 5 accounts. It's $1,000. $1,000 for an hour. Top step here. Sitting at about $50 realized. So $250 with the runner. So $1,200. Sitting in Globex, sitting on my back porch. Looking at the mountains. We're in the Rocky Mountains. Having myself a night, listening to spaces, and documenting the journey. Set my TP just right above the 50 psych and right on this here node. Top step all that work a little bit more. Just trying to recover this here trade account. I have a couple of days to maybe gain in a buffer and then take some heavier sides at it. My overall strategy on these bad boys is, start slow and maybe size up. I'll do some of the minis instead of micros. And once I start getting around this area, I mean, you just kind of want to go slow and steady and make sure that you pass the camp. Unless there's an A plus setup, you want to start adjusting your size. So at the beginning and the end of your journey to the profit target, smaller size, and in the middle is where you can kind of take some more swings. Get a quick flush to this 50s area. Nice note is showing 50 there on top steps version. Something else I've noticed on Globex is the openings up and the closes of these 30-minute candles is where you see most of the moves. I wouldn't be surprised if it maybe wouldn't be surprised if down. impulse down and in this jump range. Sitting in Globex, not a deep in the morning. Not a lot of deep. Date of the day, I would say. There's free trade. We probably watch this next candle and call it a night. Walk in $90 there on Tradeify, and probably walk this top step work just as that's what I would do with my XFA. And wake up and see what hit more. It's getting late out here. It's dark. I'm going to keep listening to some jazz.